Hi, Huskies and Bulldogs. Today we're going to have a science lesson and we're going to learn about something called, my turn, evaporation. Your turn? I'm going to clap those syllables. Evaporation. Your turn. Now, evaporation is a very special thing that happens to water. Okay? I'm going to draw a picture here. I'm going to draw a picture of a cloud up in the sky. Have you seen clouds before? I've seen clouds before. I've seen lots of different kinds of clouds. Some clouds are smaller, some clouds are bigger, some clouds are puffy like this, some clouds are long stretches. If you want to, you can pause the video and go look and see if there's any clouds outside right now. Now, this cloud right here, I'm going to use my imagination and pretend that this is a rain cloud. If it's a rain cloud, then what's going to happen? The water will fall out of it down to the ground, right? Now, sometimes when the water hits the ground, it hits the dirt and it goes into the dirt. Sometimes it lands in a river and it meets with other water. Sometimes it lands in a pond or a lake. But sometimes it lands on the sidewalk outside of our homes or our schools. And sometimes it will make a puddle. I'm going to make a puddle right here. If there's lots of rain, sometimes I see a puddle outside E.L. Haynes. I see a puddle right there, lots of water in it, right? So that's a puddle with water that came from the clouds. Does that puddle stay there forever? If you go back the next day, is the puddle still going to be there? My question is, what happens to the puddle? If you want to pause the video and talk about that with your family, you can. You can ask the question, where does the puddle go? Now, I have some ideas about that. But before I tell you what I'm thinking, I want to start an experiment. Now, you can do this experiment in your house. All you need two things that you can put water in, and one of them has to have a lid. Okay? So I have this one. This one has a lid. I'll put it on the top. This one, I'm not going to put a lid on it. I'm going to keep it open. Okay? Now I'm going to pretend that these are my puddles. I'm going to put some water in here. We're going to pretend that it's raining down in here. And there's a little puddle. See the water in there? So I think that's a little too much. I'm going to put a little bit less. A little bit of water on the bottom, maybe even a little bit less than that. Here's my puddle. Okay? I'm going to do the same thing with this jar. I'm going to make another puddle. Alright, I want them to be about the same. I think this one has more. I'm going to pour a little bit more out. Alright, they're about the same. Two pretend puddles here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the lid on top of this one. Okay? Now I want you to make a prediction. I want you to have a hypothesis. What do you think is going to happen in this experiment? They both have water. They both have little puddles. But this one has a lid. What do you think will happen? All right, I'm going to move our experiment over here. Okay? Move it to here for now. And now we're going to learn about evaporation. Okay? When that water falls down and makes a puddle, it doesn't stay there. It goes back up into the air. But you can't see it. When water is in the air, it's very little specks of water, and it's too small for you to see. But I'm going to draw it. I'm going to pretend that you can see it. That water will go back up into the air. And it usually blows and moves to a new place, up into the air, like that. And then, when all the water has gone back into the air, you don't have a puddle anymore. And that's what we call evaporation. My turn, evaporation. Your turn. So if there's water on the ground, and then it evaporates, it won't be on the ground anymore. Water also evaporates if you have a big lake. I think I'll move our experiment so I can draw a lake. I'm going to draw a big lake, or it could be a river, or it could be the ocean. Some place that has lots and lots of water. Some of that water evaporates up into the sky. Some of it, not all of it, but some of it evaporates up into the sky. So there's little bits of water in the sky. Now, if there's enough water in the sky and that water squeezes together, I want you to pretend. I want you to pretend that the water is evaporating. Get your fingers. Evaporate. It evaporates. It's up in the sky. And if enough of it squeezes together, it condenses. My turn, condense. Your turn. If that water condenses and squeezes together enough, then you can see it. And you know what it looks like? It's a cloud. If there's a cloud in the sky, that means there's lots of little specks of water in the sky. And if the water evaporates up into the sky, it can make a cloud. But then what might happen with the cloud? The cloud might turn into a rain cloud. And then it might rain down and make another puddle. And it might rain down into the lakes and the rivers. And then it can evaporate again. And then it can make another cloud. And then that cloud might rain down. And then that water can evaporate again and make another cloud. And then that water and the cloud might rain back down. It's a cycle. We call this the water cycle. The water falls out of the clouds when it rains or snows. And then it goes back up into the sky when it evaporates, right? Then, when there's enough water in the sky and it condenses, it will fall back down again. That is the water cycle. I have another picture. I didn't draw this one. Someone else made this picture. This is a picture of the water cycle, right? Here's water in the ocean. It is evaporating up into the sky. And if it squeezes together, if it condenses, it might make a cloud, and that cloud might rain back down. There might be some puddles over here, or the water might run back into the ocean. The water might go downhill until it ends up back in the ocean. That's the water cycle, right? I hope you had fun, and if you have a couple of containers, you should start this experiment, see what happens, all right? Bye, Huskies. Bye, Bulldogs.